About this new world we're about to get into. I'm about to get into anyway. Today's episode is going to be all things AI, trust in the future. So, welcome to the Digital Marketing Playground. The host here, John Williams, the business, upper left hand corner. It all started with an idea. To me, AI is everything. We've come such a long ways. I remember when somebody was like, the algorithm and this automation, we didn't have any control over where the ads were at. I remember, hey, the AI is outbidding my manual ECPC for Google back in like 2015. Boy, have we come a long ways in 2025 where people are interchanging now. Forget PPC and paid search and CPC. People are interchanging agents and tools and different platforms. It's wild. It's real wild. It's the wild, wild west, as they say. Overall, though, this podcast and the many episodes that are going to come down the road, we're going to talk about all things paid media. So that includes search, display, video, maybe even some of the audio stuff. We can talk about life, and we're going to talk about agency world. We're going to talk about in-house. We're going to talk about Amazon. We're going to talk about Meta. We're going to talk about IG and Facebook underneath Meta. We're going to talk about all the things digital advertising. And for a while, maybe it's just going to be me forever. Some days, maybe I'll be lucky enough and I have some people here rapping with me about paid media and paid search and having a good time. But let's just jump right in, right? So one of the most exciting things today, and it's on everybody's noggin, is the impact of AI. Are we all going to have jobs a year from now, 2 years from now? Most of us aren't. That's the hard, cold truth. Today, we have a lot of doers, so coordinators and associate level strategists, whatever you want to call them, that all they do is go into the office every day and they upload ads and can't have good conversations and can't talk about strategy. And PMAX is so scary. Advantage Plus is so scary. But are they really? Why? Because we don't have control. And everything we do in our life, we want to control it. Except for it's not about us. This world isn't about us. This world is about everybody else that's to the left, to the right, to the front, and behind us. And then PMAX helps us get there. A form of AI, right? When you open it up, some accounts have Gemini. Functioning, listening, and learning. We can't control placements in Performance Max. We get to add themes. We're just now getting the ability to add negatives at scale into the account. Not changing a whole lot, but think of it as what Facebook has been doing now for a couple of years, and Advantage Plus is rocking. If your account in Meta doesn't have Advantage Plus, what are you doing, whether e-commerce or lead gen? Are you really building out 1,000 campaigns with 100 individual ad sets? Are you really taking the SCAG mentality to Meta? Come on. PMAX, same thing, right? It's all creative. It's all audience-based. There's some text, but it really is about reaching top of the funnel and bottom of the funnel with video. And then there's in the middle, this consideration stuff. When people go to google.com and they type in whatever that brand is, it could be Nike, it could be the Cincinnati Reds, it could be Michigan, go blue. Absolutely better than Ohio State, by the way. And we can make that a conversation. But it's placing your ads. Performance Max is placing your ads across search. So google.com. Their partners. So you got maps and the weather stuff that they got going on, YouTube and the hundreds of channels that are there. And then there's the display network, which you have very little control over that unless you just pick like 3 websites. Though what's interesting about all of this is the ability to optimize and AI's capability real time within Performance Max, within search, within display. It's always been around, right? With dynamic ads. We're just now seeing it as a tool. Some of us are using it more than others. I'm 3-4 hours a day So about 10 o'clock at night, my brain just goes and I'm coding. I'm using Cursor. I'm using Claude for sure. I'm working on my Python. Somebody said like this no code thing. I don't know anything about that. I'm just going in and doing my best to come up with a script or some sort of tool that's going to do a lot of the insight and work for me so I can focus on strategy, right? And then what's super important about all this though, and with AI and where it's going and Performance Max and Advantage Plus is like, was it ever really about the automation being a problem, or was it just about the data, right? And so when you think about each of these platforms and what goes into these platforms, right? Are they any good without data? No. What is the minimum threshold? It's 50 conversions. How do you get your minimum budget on Facebook? It's like 50 to 75 conversions times whatever your CPA is. So whatever your cost to acquire a customer is, that should be your budget. I mean, that's no different than Google Ads in terms of best practice. For some folks, they can get there in a day because they just have a really great brand and they're selling clothes and thumb stopping stuff for social media and then Google Ads. Take Casely as an example. This is a plug for your, what do you call this thing? iPhone. And so they sell different cases, everything from like $6 all the way up to 30, $40. I mean, they're selling hundreds of those things a day, thousands. It doesn't take them very long to get to the threshold where these tools, Performance Max and Performance Max AI, their automation is taking over. But now let's talk about AI differently, right? Beyond these thresholds, beyond what it takes for the system to work for you. Let's talk about Claude. Let's talk about OpenAI, DeepSeek. Oh my G. Right? These different tools are much different than what we've known, and rightly so. Why? Because you don't have to go to google.com to find an answer. You don't have to beat around the bush. Sure, there's studies out there that says the information isn't always accurate, but what is? I'm definitely not, and I know you're not always correct, right? It's trial and error, but are you smart enough? Can you think through that process? Can you ask a better question to get more out of the platform that you're using? Do you know what to look for? Are you already asking all of the right questions? Why are my keywords not working? Are my bids not high enough? Do I have the right ads? What's the experience before the consumer clicks on the ad? Is the message resonate? What's your strategy? How does it lead to your objective? Are we already asking these questions, right? Where it's all about the audience, it's not about us. So that when you go into these tools and maybe they're pumping out incorrect information for the free version, but if you pay for the right version and you put in the time, 4 or 5 hours a day, 2 hours a day, an hour a day in these platforms, you learn how they work and it starts to learn you. So then it becomes your personality, right? These tools are powerful resources in order to make your work better, make your strategy more efficient, and answer a lot of questions that you used to have to go through a bunch of hurdles to get a response from. I remember working in the agency world way back in the day for this company by the name of CDK Global. And I got to tell you, gosh, I had to go through engineering and development, and I had to go put in a Jira ticket, and then I had to sit down in a governance meeting, and then it had to be weighted for cost and what was the efficiency for it. And then if I was lucky and an engineer or developer picked it up, if I was lucky, and it made financial sense for the business because I had to think about scale. Was it just for me or was it for the rest of the business and what was the efficiency behind it? Then I had to hope that the person working on it knew enough about advertising to be able to even implement it. Oh, was that painful? And then you go internal, and the bureaucracy internally and the matrix organization is a whole nother level. I mean, at Farmers back in the day, just to get a call only ad stood up for their local agents. And mind you, people aren't filling out forms for insurance. They just want to pick up the phone or go online and complete the process. It was like, well, I've never had my teeth pulled and I still have my wisdoms. Gosh, just to say, hey, I want to have somebody look at an ad, click on it, and call the agent so they can get pricing. It was like pulling teeth. I had to put in a process for that, right? And then I had to explain it. Then I had to go through tech. Then I had to go through engineering because they need to tag the site. They need to update Google Tag Manager. They need to make sure that there was no conspiracy to hack the website from a phone number. That was like back in the day. You didn't have a lot of control. Now, today, you don't need to go through that entire process. In fact, you yourself as a strategist or an advertiser, you could, instead of going to google.com and going through some gate and big book, you could go to OpenAI, type in your thought if you know what you're looking for, if you're asking all the right questions, and it could build it out for you. It can help you do the process. It could even, in some instances, I'm not recommending this, but you could use their tool to take over your screen and build it for you. Right. It's really, really cool. To be an engineer, to be a developer is really hard right now. Advertisers, again, are worried about their jobs, and they should be. Engineers should be worried about their jobs. Developers should be worried about their jobs. Why? Because you have this tool that millions of people are now using and dumping all their information into it, all of their questions, all their how-tos, and it's soaking it up. And it's taking everything that was once incorrect and it's taking the things that are correct and it's saying, wow, okay, this does work. And so for every time something becomes right or is correct, I don't know if the word right even fits. If it's something that's a correct process, it can think through so many different iterations that you could plug it into 100 different websites and say, oh, I know how to do this process, and then extrapolate and put it into this process. And it gets it done for you in 30 minutes, not days, not weeks, not governance, not process, none of that. It can map it out for you as an advertiser. It can map it out for you as a marketer. It can map it out for you as a developer, or even as an engineer. It's a very thoughtful tool, AI, this world of AI. Now, whether it's DeepSeek, it's up to you. Is it Claude? I do think Claude is a better coding tool than OpenAI today. I was using OpenAI or ChatGPT as my primary coding tool to build scripts for Google Ads. No longer I use Cursor. I don't go to Gemini. It's a little funky, even though it's a Google product. I don't recommend it. Copilot is really great for creative, but now there's a bunch of creative tools that are out there. To me, the go-tos really are Claude and OpenAI or ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT like I use Grammarly before I send emails or put something together, processes, or if I'm working on, say, some project to deliver to ELT, I'm going to work through that and I'm going to have it be my partner and my peer to check my work, to substantiate my numbers. And then also I'm going to know if something's funky or odd because I'm going to ask all the right questions, right? Or I'm going to attempt to ask all the right questions. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time trying to figure out how to go into Excel anymore and create a bunch of if statements. I'm going to say, hey, AI, here's this if statement that I need to create. Can you map this back to this data? And then plug it in and say, yeah, here's this code, pop it into the cell. I mean, it takes care of all the work for me. Why would you be scared of that as a marketer? Why would you be scared of that as a business person? I don't get it, right? AI and the power of it is ridiculous. Tying that now back to Google Ads, skip that world. When you come into Google Ads and you're thinking about the power of this automation and what is Performance Max. I had the privilege of working with Menachem at JXT Group. And I remember there was this social style feeds and then you had shopping style. And I think he is the inventor of that, by the way, sort of like Larry Kim is the unicorn person. And then there are a few other folks that you can tie things to, but that process works and it works still very well today. And in fact, the default is to have a shopping style ad in PMax. And if that doesn't work because you're not getting enough volume and that system's still not working the way you need to, is that you can go back to standard shopping. But the whole idea is that you just get a little bit more control, but you let the audiences and the signals within PMax do its thing from the social style. Right. So that means you just have creative in there with your headlines and your titles, but you don't put your shopping feed together. That was a hack for a while. Now, today, I don't know that you need to do that. right? And I think you can still have both together. So I do think you can have a performance max campaign where all your asset groups are nothing but creative, and creative matters 100%. You do need to have strong creative for performance max to work. If you have bad creative, you're going to have a bad performance max campaign. It's not going to be the best campaign because it is serving display ads and it is serving video. So you should invest in that. And then you have your shopping feed or another campaign that's performance max that's all about shopping. And then you can break it out, just say you're like some boutique store and you sell shirts and shoes and flip flops. You want to have your shoes separate from your flip flops, and you want to have your different shirts, based on season and different asset groups, no different than standard shopping, right? And it's magic. Now with what is this search max coming here soon, the idea that you're going to turn over what is an RSA standard text campaign, search campaign over into what is very similar, eerily similar to performance max for like shopping and display ads is wild. But don't forget, there's something that's hidden off to the right side that a lot of people ain't paying attention to is Gemini. When you log into Google Ads and you're in there and you're looking at that, you're like, oh, I'm not going to use that tool. So you just ignore it. But in the background, it's watching everything that you're doing. It's watching how you're typing. It's learning all of the different options that you're setting, because my hypothesis is one day Gemini is going to run all of your Google Ads campaigns. And the only option you're going to have is kind of like Advantage Plus and Meta. Nobody's complaining about Meta. And all of the automation, from the resizing of ads to the text to the suggestions of, now they have their own version of site links and call outs. Nobody's complaining about that, not at least in my feed, right? And my feed is pretty diverse, from the CEOs mostly to a lot of in-house folks. I try to kill the noise in terms of people complaining about like this, telling me that this is the new best way. I'm like, as soon as I see that, I'm like, I never want to see that again. But a lot of people are complaining about that. Again, going back to the very beginning of this conversation, do we really deserve to control our media if we don't know what we're doing? I mean, do you know how many advertisers set it and forget it? Do you know how many advertisers on a daily basis actually update their manual bids? Kills accounts. I mean, I see the red label of that minimum bid for the first page, not eligible. And they're gathering all these impressions and these clicks at like $1 and some change. And I'm not saying you need to be $20 CPC. Are you really doing yourself a favor? You're not updating your ad. You don't have all of the possible headlines and the descriptions. I'm not saying you should have that or that it's a must. But we do know the more headlines you have, the more impressions you're likely to get, because those headlines match to the 80% of how people are searching, plus the 20% or 30% new searches that occur every stinking single day. And we're lucky if we get 30 to 40% of all of those unique search queries put into our account, right? So that we can actually see what's working. So are we doing the best for our accounts, or are we doing the best for ourselves? You have to ask yourself that question, right? And when you think about the world of digital marketing and what this is, think of it like Disneyland. This is a plug, right? When you walk into Disneyland, there's not garbage and trash everywhere. There's not bugs. You're not getting eaten up by mosquitoes. It's a very delightful, very trustworthy, very clean, very humbling experience. And you're engaged from the food to the rides to the people watching is absolutely amazing. The characters walking around are absolutely amazing. It's a very engaging process that is automated almost. It's almost mechanical when you walk in there, from the lines to the food, just the whole entire process. So why can't our advertising be the same way? Why can't you just let the reins go? I used to try and beat it. I used to say, oh man, with eCPC, I could beat TCPA. I could beat T-ROAS. Why would I turn it over? I remember that. That was like 2015 though. It's 2025. I don't have time to go in and to worry about whether a bid is doing its thing. No, If I have warnings or labels, that means I'm doing too much. I need to turn the reins over so the system could focus on that and I dial in the strategy. Gone are the days where we need to control everything. We need to start focusing on strategy, y'all, and AI can help us with the rest. And I'm not talking about Claude, and I'm not talking about ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot or DeepSeek or the other whatevers that are out there. I'm really talking about 4-page search, letting it go, turning over the keys to Performance Max to Demand Gen so that we can focus on strategy and have better conversations with our clients, the people that are asking us to help them put food on their plates and grow their business. AI is funky. Nobody really understands it. It's going to be a long time. Right now, it's just guesswork. It. And there are students out there. I'm a student. Again, I'm 4 hours a day. There's some weekends I'm like 8 to 10. I built an agent hybrid that analyzes thousands of accounts, tells me what's working and what's not working, and can even make changes. It's not out in the public. I'm still holding on to it, right? I'm still working on it. I'm still refining it. And I've built now scripts that didn't exist. I didn't have the skill set to do it. Now with OpenAI and practice and lots of time and commitment and error and investment, I was able to do it. It helps. It can help with how you communicate. It can help with math. It can help with engineering. I don't think it can solve love problems at this time, but it can definitely challenge theory. It can give you the skills that you don't have if you just take the time to learn it, like anything else in life, right? Football, basketball, baseball, cooking, my 4 Goldens, taking care of them. You first got to get one to learn how to take care of it. And they're pretty cool. I have 4, one too many. I love them. But it's like anything. Until you do it, you don't know. Some people don't want to know, and that's okay. The world will move past you, just like time. And then there's a place, if you don't want to be part of that, there are other places for you to go that will help you with that. But you must invest in that. You must invest in AI. And for the only reason is so that you can keep up as an advertiser with where the industry is going. 2 years from now, if you're a coordinator, you're not going to have a role. If all you're doing is pulling levers in SEO, somebody's telling you what to do, and you just go into the platform and you do it, you're not going to have a job. Not. If you're an analyst today in a company, it really is like, I don't know, like why today you even still have a role. It doesn't make sense. Your role, if you are an analyst, should be checking the work that whatever tool you're using is there. Is there a reason why you're using SAP anymore to like do a log for account? No, I think it's ridiculous. You could just pump that spreadsheet into Excel of numbers and then say, hey, AI, look at this, tell me this, and give me this, forecast it, use Basin and whatever other model that you want to use, and it does it. You don't need to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to crunch, hundreds of numbers. You don't have to do that anymore. To build an ad, for display, it's been around for a long time. For automation and generation for ads, dynamic, that's been around for a decade at minimum, right? Dynamic ads, the concept for automated bids, those platforms have been around for a long time. Forever long, Campaign Manager and SA360 has been around. That's been there. It's been enterprise level, right? And I'm not talking about like the optimizers and the Worstreams of the world. Those are simple products that stack on top of Google Ads and Microsoft Ads. I'm talking about legitimate forecasting and development and AI tools have been around in advertising for a while. Now you can take that concept and put it into the business and it automates it for you. Embrace AI. It's here to help you so that you can focus on strategy for the businesses that you serve, right? And it will one day be just as authentic as you. Your tool, whichever one you choose to use, your agent or body of work through that agent, right? That concept will look like you, sound like you, feel like you. It will be a spitting image of your day-to-day for work. Don't hold out. Search is changing. The world's evolving. Get on with it. My first podcast, I think it was a mix. I don't know. We're going to see how the output looks. But this is my first one. I'm going to do more and more and more. But today was about AI and my passion for it and kind of the noise that's out there. Like, kill it. Get involved. Start practicing. If you're not, you're behind. And you're not going to have a job in 2 years. And I don't wish that upon anybody. Go get it done. Go learn it. Peace and love, y'all. From JW. It all started with an idea. It's been a blessing to be able to talk with you and chat with y'all today. Love.